Okay, so I have made the make 2D drawing command. This 3/4 view is useless. Gonna get rid of it. Put this on a layer. You take a look at your layer, see what I've got to work with here. Not a lot. The only layers I have left are black. So I'm going to tidy things up a little bit. Here, that'll give me some options. Okay, I want to arrange these into a layout that makes sense to me. This is my top view, this is my right view. So that's fine. I'm going to tidy these up. Any little weird bits and pieces of curve, I'm going to get rid of. Does it make sense what I'm doing? Not sure what I'm looking at there, so. Okay. So this is the underside of your flower. Okay. It's important to keep that clear. Oops, not that. See, I'm just taking a couple of minutes to tidy things up. All kinds of strange curvature going on there. That's what I want. Wondering what it's seeing here. Okay, so anything that is like that is not part of the prong, it's part of this flower. Okay, that means there's some strange things in the drawing I don't quite understand. And that's okay. I have ways around that, which I will show you. I'll leave that there. It may be useful later.
Is there so many smooth curves?
Yes.
Is the maquette principle?
I don't know. I wasn't even paying attention to that. Probably not. But really, Rhino just gives you ugly drawings. It's kind of its job. It's kind of its wheelhouse. It's not a real elegant drawing solution. It was never meant to be. This isn't Photoshop or Illustrator, it's Rhino. So you're going to get a lot of little artifacts and weird snippets of stuff that you might as well clean up as fight with it later. Now I would question how thick you've made this. Okay. This is really thick. The under bezel. I would say that this whole thing could be moved up quite a bit. But I'll worry about that in a minute. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I want to see how much I see these here. I don't see these bezels there at all. That's really good news for me. Because now I'm just going to draw in Rhino. This shouldn't be more than 1.2 millimeters thick. Either one of these. Just going to move this up. Same thing here, just going to move it down. Extend curve. Okay. It's a lot of clicking and moving around just to clean that up enough that it's usable. Okay? So there are our views. All right, now I need to draw a box around this so I can export it out of here. File, export selected. Jocelyn Office Hour, Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so that's out of here. Now I want to turn both of those off. And I'm going to set viewport layout to 4 views. Okay? Like so. I'm going to select my piece. And I'm going to go to Set View, Zoom Selected. That'll make it fill the viewport. Then I'm going to type Synchronize Views. And that'll make these two match. This one I really don't care about. We'll set it like that. Okay. Now, I want to be able to see this without looking at all the ISO curve information. So display options, shaded, objects. Just go to shaded. See where it says show ISO curves? I'm going to turn that off. Now, edge thickness in pixels, because they don't give me a choice for turning off edges. I'm going to turn this down from 2 to 0. I wanted that everywhere. Okay? All right, does that make sense what I just did? Hit all the ISO curves and surface edges as best I could, so I could really see the form of your piece. I did that so I can do a screen capture. Screen capture, I just hit print screen on my keyboard. Like that. Now I'm going to go into Photoshop. Go to File, New, Accept Clipboard, Create, and Control V. Paste that in. I'll go ahead and crop it because all I want to see is the model. Ray traced is a little different effect. It takes longer. And that shows me what you've got really easily, right? So now I'm going to take the other file that I created. It's going to make it really hard for me to get down to the desktop. Okay, and look for Jocelyn Office Hour Adobe Illustrator.
It doesn't have to be like Adobe Illustrator when you export it.
Should be.
It should be?
Yeah.
What if you don't have the stuff?
You do. You're an FIT student. It's free. Didn't you know that? You've already paid for it as part of your student fees. You get the full Creative Suite free of charge. You have Illustrator, you have Photoshop, you have all of it free of charge while you're a student here. Go down to the third floor when we're through here. Go into the IT office and say, how do I get my student Photoshop, my student Creative Suite? You've been paying for it for 2 years. It's part of your student fees. You can put it on your computer at home. You can use Painter too. Yeah, but the lines to get into Painter or Photoshop or Illustrator. Going to select all of those. Going to group them together. Going to move them up. And I'm going to change the stroke from 1 point down to 0.3 points. And then I'm going to select it and then go File, Export, Desktop, JPEG. I want to make sure that the quality is all the way up, that it's RGB, that resolution is 300 ppi, and it's art optimized for super sampling. And hit OK. No need to save that. I'm going to go back into Photoshop. And I'm going to go and open that file. Okay, there it is. Now I want to do a couple of things to it before I start working with it. One of the things I want to do is I want to make it not so black and white. So I'm going to Control A, Control X, cut everything, and then Control Shift V, which will paste it back in the exact place. And then I will go here and take the opacity and I will back it off a little bit. Go ahead and let them in. Come on in. It's my next office hour. You were 10 minutes late, Jocelyn. Okay, do you understand what I've just done here, Jocelyn?
Yeah.
I've made it more transparent. Now I want to know how big it is compared to that other file I have open. Okay. It would work in here. So now what I would do, and unfortunately I can't keep working because I have somebody here. But I would then come in here and continue to work the drawing. Not even sure what brush I have active right now here. I don't work in Photoshop anymore. I work in Procreate almost all of the time, but that's a really big brush. Oh, yeah, Happy HB is not a bad brush. Just 10 pixels is awfully big. Okay. Put in a fresh layer so I'm not destroying anything. And then I would bring in these details. See that I have over here? By bringing these lines in, a line and a dash, if you make sure the lines never reach all the way to the edge, it means that they are a soft curve. And you can use that. And if you are getting kind of wiggly lines, you can crank the smoothing up. But don't worry too much about it because this is actual size. And so when you print this out, it's going to be very clean, no matter what you do. See how that looks more like your piece? All right. And then you would print that out and paint it. But you could use this information that you have down here and see what I normally do is I set my pen to the front mouse button. I set it to a keyboard shortcut of Shift X because in Photoshop and Painter, both, that flips back and forth between front and back color, which means I can erase without having to do anything too crazy, right? Does that make sense? And this will allow you to do a more refined, artistic looking drawing than what Rhino wants to give you. See that big bump right there? Who wants that? We don't want a big bump. You see this hard line? You don't want a hard line there. Okay? And by making adjustments like that, maybe you don't want a straight prong. Maybe you want a boated prong so that it comes in at an angle. And if you did, then you could adjust that, for example. Okay? You don't have to use what Rhino gave you, is what I'm saying. Okay? And with that, I got to cut it short. I will save this file. It's a Photoshop file, but you can open this in Photoshop or Painter. Painter will open a Photoshop file. No problem. It'll keep all the layers and everything in Painter. Okay? And your Rhino file, I will also save to the desktop. If you don't get these from me in a couple of days, remind me, please. All right, because I'm bad, and I know that about myself. And I can't type because I'm in a hurry. Yes. So that goes, and the last thing for me to do is to save this video.